Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Kinprint. For all your company's promotional needs, they do it all. Apparel, promotional products using the highest quality brands. They do logo design, signage, and printing. Kinprint will promote your brand with excellence. Visit kinprint.ca. Let's do a little Saturday night podcasting, shall we? Hello, folks, and welcome to Got Your Back post-game edition. Oiler fan licking your wounds tonight after a no-show for the first 40 minutes of that game, and the score was flattering. Oilers made it look better than it actually seemed. In a loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jason Strudwick will join me in just a minute. We're coming at you, as always, from our long shot studio here in Sherwood Park. More than just golf, it's a sports destination. Locations on Stony Plain Road and in Sherwood Park as well. And as always, our show is brought to you by our amazing title sponsors, Sherwood Buick GMC. They're going to the moon this month. They've got a goal of selling 400 cars. They're running out of days, but sounds like they're doing pretty well. That means they're doing deals, right? So if there's any listeners out there that are interested in a vehicle, new or used, go see Phil and the crew just off Baseline Road on the way into Sherwood Park. They're doing deals, especially as it's getting late in the month here. They're not going to turn much down, so go check it out. It's mayhem. GMCpod.com is the website to check it all out. Chris Sabunia manning the controls in Kelowna, and Jason Strudwick checking in. Struddy, how do you feel when the Maple Leafs beat the Oilers? Do you feel like, do the texts come from Noodles and Hayes and O-Dog and those guys? Do you hear from a number of people? Like, how does it go in your world when that happens?
I do hear it, online and for some of my buddies. But I'm going on overdrive on Monday, so that will be a real fun one to be a part of. But I can tell you just from personal experience, getting spanked on Hockey Night in Canada is not fun, but especially by the Leafs. Like that's a really rough one. And that'll be luckily they get to play tomorrow to try to erase what happened tonight in Toronto for the Oilers.
Yeah, I would like. What's it like when you get? Because was there 11 Ontario guys? I think they're saying. Everybody goes home. Family, friends. We'll get into the game here, the nuts and bolts of the game, but you tell me. I don't know. Is there anything to that? So many Ontario guys all heading home. Only happens once a year, maybe twice, but I don't know.
Look, I'm going to be honest. Like, I didn't find anything special about playing in Toronto. I didn't grow up watching the Leafs. I didn't grow up I loved Wendell Clark, but it wasn't like I was, a lot of people call it like the birthplace of hockey. And I never found it exciting. The reason I went there and I was excited because I wanted to make Leafs fans have a bad night. Now, as far as the guys that are from there, it is special. I can tell you from my own experience, coming home to Edmonton when I played, especially when I played out east once a year, there was a lot of distractions. You're trying to see your family, your friends, your grandmas, all that stuff was just absolutely awesome. So that does weigh on it, but you are a professional. At the end of the day, it's not like you're going out partying with your buddies. You're still getting bed at a reasonable time. You're eating healthy. So although it could be a minor distraction or a distraction, I would call it a minor distraction, Shog, because let's remember, you're at home. You want to put on a show for your family and friends.
How bad was it, Struds? I'm 5-0. I debated putting embarrassed in the title. I think it probably would have fit. Sure, they pulled the tender and made it kind of interesting, sort of not really in the third period. But after 40 minutes, Zuby and I were talking about titles, and I was thinking embarrassed would have fit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know when I was on a team and we were winning or losing by a big margin, another team made a pushback. It's kind of hollow, right? Because the game's already kind of decided in the first two periods. And embarrassed. I can see where you're coming from.
5-0. Hockey Night in Canada. That's embarrassing.
And so it is embarrassing. Like I've been a part of those. They're not much fun at all. But what I think that, well, there's lots of angles to come at this from. But I thought the least the word I'd use, they were very determined.
Oh, you got me, buddy?
You're back.
Okay, sorry about that. I hit my mute button. Had to holler at some people making some noise outside the outside the office door. Okay, let's dig into the nitty gritty details. The breakdown brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel, Edmonton's heavy duty diesel truck repair shop. They perform services from oil changes to engine swaps, overhauls, modified engine work as well. The crew at Adrenaline Diesel are there to get your truck or trailer in great shape like it's right out of the factory. Drop in or check them out at adrenalinediesel.ca. Okay, let's just get going with the power plays. An early opportunity, and it looked like they had a little something in their legs, I would say. McDavid looked like he got him off to a good start. They draw a penalty. But Strud, sometimes those power plays early, they're not the blessing that you might think they are. And I thought this was a power play that absolutely sucked the momentum and mojo right out of this group.
Well, let's back up right to the very beginning. The faceoff goes forward, and Leon Draisaitl gets it. And instead of trying to skate through guys, he chips into the corner, and that starts the Oilers' forecheck on their first shift. I love that. I'm like, oh wow, what do we got here tonight? Like, this is what I would call a quote unquote determined group to get up and play in the other team's end.
Yeah.
They draw the penalty, and then you're right. I didn't think that I don't think they lost momentum on the power play, and I think the Leafs gained some momentum on the power play. Let's give full credit to the Leafs penalty kill. It looks excellent tonight. Honestly, their pressure on the Oilers was well done. Their sticks in the right place. Numerous times we saw sticks just catching a puck or tipping a puck. Riley one time on Leon, so he couldn't bury a one-timer. Like, they were very dialed in on the details, and they were determined to not let the Oilers power play be a difference in this game tonight. And they gained energy, and the Oilers lost it.
Well, and I think they gained energy because of the way they went about it, too. Not only did they kill the power plays without a lot of opportunity against, they laid a pounding on them. Like, Joel Edmondson was a beast early on in that game. That hit he threw on McDavid, that was a monster hit. That was a big hit. And that's going to ignite them. They came and brought some nasty, and they kill these penalties and take the physical advantage. And now you're rocking and rolling. Boom, all of a sudden they're on the power play, and it goes the other way, Strud. So I thought it wasn't just killing the penalties. It was also taking the physical edge to the Oilers.
Yeah, the hit you're referring to, actually, I thought it looked a lot more than it was. I didn't think it was that hard hit. But the idea, and I think that McCabe and Edmondson came out tonight with the idea they were going to make the Oilers forward suffer. And they were very physical on him. I mean, Riley was doing his thing as far as keeping a good distance to McDavid and to Leon. Lindgren's not gonna hurt anybody, but they were determined to come out and to make life hard on the Edmonton Oilers and take away their time and space. And they did a really good job of that. The Leafs D-man especially.
Yeah, it was just one of those hits that it's so seldom that McDavid actually gets caught like that. Maybe it did look a little bit worse than it actually was. What did you think about the way the Oilers responded when the Leafs upped the temperature? Like, do you think that they did enough to kind of counterpunch, to match their intensity level, to match the physicality? And maybe in the bigger picture, it was their big guns that were getting targeted. Did they do enough in response to make the Leafs uncomfortable?
The Leafs came out with, as I just kind of talked about, the mandate of their heavy guys were going to be heavy tonight. And specifically McCabe and Edmondson, they were coming out and they were going to be physical on it. And when that starts, and as a team, when you're not ready for that, or you're not prepared to play that way, or your mindset isn't set that, it feels like you're playing catch up the whole night. So, on the older side of the ledger, where was the physicality from their heavier guys? From Nurse, we saw a little bit of a pushback there at the end of the second period, but Edmondson's not going to take that fight at that moment. Kane, Cody Ceci, Vinny Darnay tonight, to me, looked like a guy that maybe was unsure of his, if he, whatever injury he has. Yeah, he looked unsure as far as engaging. You didn't see the normal mean Vinny. And this is where you need him. Like, that's tonight, you need Vinny to be like Joel Edmondson is on the other side. And we could go through their roster, Shogger, of different. I mean, Janmark fights Max Domi, and that's I love that Janmark gets in there. But does Connor Brown finish the hits on anyone? Where's Sam Carrick? Like, all those guys that I outlined, heavy players they have for the Oilers. they didn't seem to be prepared to meet that intensity and that heavy play from the Leafs players, and so you're chasing it.
Yeah, and that's bizarre, man. Like it's an important game. There's lots of build up towards it. And that level of physicality that Toronto if you compare that to what it looks and feels like in the playoffs, it really wasn't that much. I mean, it was a hard physical game and they got a little bit chippy and stuff, but did the Oilers just not bring it tonight? But they're a team that's capable of bringing it that way. Like, was it uncharacteristic, you think, for them to have had that lacking in their game? I mean, I would have thought that maybe, I don't know, maybe Evander Kane pushes back in some meaningful way. Like maybe there's a conversation nose to nose with Joel Edmondson that he needed to have. Maybe there was some other guys that needed to, get in their faces a little bit. Their main two guys were being targeted, and there wasn't much in the way of any pushback for 40 minutes. And that started literally on the second shift.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Chuck. It's a great point. I actually made a note and said, this is the type of game that wakes up that physicality in your team.
It should.
No one likes to see your top players be targeted without a kind of an equal or measured response towards the other team's top players. So all the guys I just outlined, and all those guys have shown physicality. They've all done it over the course of their careers in the course of this year. But tonight they didn't have it. They didn't have the physicality that was being put on their top guys. And it's really hard today to just say, I'm going to go fight Ryan Reeves. Like fighting Ryan Reeves doesn't solve much, right?
No.
To me, it doesn't really, quite frankly, and with all due respect to him, you kind of want him on the ice out there. You don't want him in the penalty box. So, you need other players to step up and to be that physical guy. So I think, the note I made is I think it really rings true. I think this is a bit of a reminder to those guys that, we're now getting towards the end of the season. What do they got, Shugger? Is it 13 games left or whatever the number is?
Yeah, whatever the number is, I
think they need to start dialing that up and being more targeted and, calculating with who and why they going after different players.
14. And I'm not even saying, that anybody has to drop the gloves and, get into a punch in the head contest, but like make it clear that you're not happy with it. Go after their, good players with hard checks and get in their grills a little bit after the whistle and just sort of show that you're there and you're in the fight, right? The rest of the lineup needed to show they were in the fight because McDavid and Draisaitl certainly were. They were being dragged into it by the Maple Leafs. And the Oilers needed to do a better job of showing they were all on board with that and making life a little bit tougher on the Leafs. Didn't love that response. I just thought it showed a lack of something that you should have when you have two players like McDavid and Draisaitl getting into it with the other group so often. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox. Right now, Weiss Johnson's offering $200 off on the Fantech HEPA filter system, which is a great air filtration system. It'll especially be great as it helps take out the smoke from the air in your home. If we have another bad forest fire season like we had last few years, we all know how hard it can be to breathe and how uncomfortable it can get. So give Weiss Johnson a call and get proactive. Contact him at weiss-johnson.com.
Weiss Johnson, Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Okay, let's get to post-game sound. I can't remember which I labeled where here, so one sec. Yes, it's Leon Draisaitl on the night.
Weird game, I thought. I think they probably capitalized on every single one of their chances, and we gave up a little too much the first 40, and they did a good job of, like I said, capitalizing on their looks. Just gave up too much in the first 40.
Well, I think a couple things we didn't capitalize on our early opportunities that we had in the first period, especially the McDavid line. Spent a lot of time in the offensive zone, just didn't capitalize, and that set us back. And then we also had a couple power plays, and we don't capitalize on our two power plays. They score on theirs, and it just snowballed from there.
What's the prime?
So let's talk about the nuts and bolts of what happened, Struds. Let's start breaking down some of these mistakes because there were some pretty tough ones defensively and some tough defensive breakdowns. Maybe just start with the 1-0 goal where McMahon ends up just kind of wide open there in the slot.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So what I saw was, the rush comes up and Nurse kind of he's on the side, and then Vinny leaves the front of the net to go play someone in the corner. and Darnell doesn't get back there in time. So McMahon is wide, or McCann, sorry, is wide over by himself. And that is, I was like, oh man, how did that guy get open? Right. And he's kind of feeling it right now. So, the communication between the D is in there. And you could make the case that I think it was Brown that could have come back a little hard to the front of the net. But, generally speaking, you don't want to leave the front of the net until your partner is close or he's coming back with some tempo.
Machine Gun Yanmark says this team's role players can't kick their feet up and wait for the McDavid show on the power play anymore. Teams playing them tighter. Other players need to engage early and often. The 2-0 goal was what it was. Tip kind of at the side of the net there. I'm not sure if you had any notes or anything to point out on that one, Struds.
No, I mean, it was a bit lucky. I really feel, if you want to know the truth, but I mean, good players get lucky like that to the tune of 40 goals.
Okay, let's go to the 3-0 goal. So a number of games ago, in a key moment in a game, we see Evan Bouchard toe-to-toe with the other team's best player, and he goes soft in the corner in a key moment, doesn't recognize the danger, soft defensive play, puck's in the back of the net. Fast forward to this game, down 2-0, right? You're on the ropes, time to buckle down. An incredibly soft play in the corner, just bails on the puck entirely, gives it to Matthews, puck's in the back of the net. Lots of players made mistakes tonight. Evan Bouchard is on the ice a lot, so he's going to have the opportunity to make more mistakes. But Struds, again, my concern with this player is in big moments, in important moments, the attention to danger, the hardness comes out of his game. And so tough mistake. Bad look for Evan Bouchard.
Just a heavy plays needed in that moment, right? You need to come in there and really make sure you're strong on the puck or strong on the player. And it just doesn't happen there. Now, this is one of many issues, we saw tonight on the goals against. So I'm not going to single him out for, just for that play, but it was one that's correctable. And I think that, not that they all aren't, but this is one that's very correctable for Bouch, for sure.
Singling him out would be saying they lost because of him. Or singling him out would be saying that was all his fault, right? Like, we're not singling him out. This is an incredibly important player that wants to be on the ice against the best players on the other team, that wants those minutes, that wants those opportunities. He deserves. He's had a fantastic year in so many ways. But I am telling you, for a guy that's on the ice this much in this many key moments, he has got to harden up in these moments, or he's not going to be usable in these moments when they desperately need him. We're not singling him out. We're analyzing his play, and it wasn't very good in that moment.
Right, but I think by singling out him, I don't want to highlight him in this game today because so many plays were just not hard enough.
Yeah,
not hard enough.
We'll talk about those two.
And so, is it any worse than Vinny and Darnell not communicating on the first goal?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I disagree.
That is a play of intention. That is a play of aggressiveness. That is a play of being. I think it is different.
But I disagree. That literally Vinny leaves where the puck goes and leaves his man in front. Is that not intention? That's the same. That to me, you're in the right place. All you do is stand there and you leave that space for the puck to go right to where you're supposed to be.
But it comes from a different place, though, right? You're looking at a puck battle in the corner, and you choose not to engage in that puck battle. I think that comes from a different place.
But I disagree because it's you're getting to semantics. Either it's a mistake, one way or the other. And when you're literally in the right place, then you leave the right place to go to the wrong place. To me, that's a big problem as well. In that moment, you need to know you just stand in front. Your D-man's not back, your partner's back. Just stand there. Just wait. Instead, so there's no doubt what Bouch did was bad, but on this night, I just can't highlight his play because there was so many other choices.
For sure, there was
just mind blowing. That tonight, there's other nights I've been critical of him, but I feel he was just throw it on. It's the same difference. For sure, 5 goals.
For sure. So we're going through the goals. That one tough play there from Evan Bouchard. Oilers sort of claw their way back. What do you think of the 4-0 even strength? Bobble on the blue line from Henrique, just lack of awareness, right? Just touch the puck, take the offside. Take a look around. He had no help.
Yeah, it's just there's a moment there where you just bite the bullet and say, I'm just gonna, wherever the face-off goes, we'll just live with it. Because I think that was right at the end of a power play, wasn't it? Was that the one? Is that then the power play? I think they were coming out.
Yeah, it was the second, was it 3-on-1 it ended up being?
Yeah.
Second one they'd given up in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. So just say, I'm just going to touch it and do it. Like things haven't quite been going your way. That just touch the puck quickly. And that's, those are the plays that Adam Henrique is here to make those choices, right? I've highlighted him as a very high IQ hockey player. And in that moment, he needs to shine. He needs to show that, okay, I get it. I'll just take this and we'll just move on from there.
And then 5-0. That was Connor McDavid just completely being in the wrong place and not picking up his man in front of the net, right?
No, he was, the problem is he was in the right place, but his stick was in the wrong place, right? So all he does, if he just turns around and puts his stick on the ice, that pass gets knocked down, right? The pass
doesn't he? It's a 2-on-2. He just needs to go over, stand by that guy. I don't think he was in the right place. He needed to be over by that guy.
So if he turns, so his toes, we're generally facing the net. If he turns his pivots, gets his stick up ice or his skate up ice and puts his stick in the passing lane, he knocks that pass down. Boom, done. Because you don't have to be right beside the guy if you knock down that passing lane.
Yeah, but the guy can saucer pass it over your stick. Like, it was clearly a 2-on-2 situation. McDavid got caught looking. He needed to shoulder check and just go take that guy. I think it was a lack of awareness by him.
Yeah, well, he didn't know that. He may not have known he was there, but I would counsel him, say, buddy, turn around, get your stick in the lane. It's Connor McDavid. He knocks down everything. You don't think he can knock down that pass?
Yeah, there was no reason for him. We'll agree to disagree on that one too. There was no reason for him to have any separation from the second player on that rush. That was his guy. He just needed to figure out who his guy was and go stand beside him, and it never would have happened. But he got caught watching. He drifted too close to the goalie, and then boom, it's over. But we'll agree to disagree. I love it. I'm playing the role of Rob Brown tonight. We're seeing things differently.
No, listen, I get what you're saying. I get the impression, but I mean, there are ways you can make defensive plays without being all over the guy and just taking away that pass. And maybe that player doesn't even make that pass if you're six in that lane, right? And that's, that's one of the details Oilers have gotten better at, is having six in the lanes. And it wasn't there in that case. And it's just like, oh, I'll just zip it over. And then that guy has all kind of time to rip that puck.
All right. Let's get to our You Services Relentless Player of the Night. If you're picking an Oilers stud, you're going to have to go combing through that roster something fierce, because it might be a little bit tough to find one. If you're looking for laborers for your business, You Services can help. They train 18 to 25-year-olds, getting them ready, willing, and able to rejoin the workforce. Check out their Road to Work program. It's a fantastic charity. www.ucan.ca, and Got Your Back as a proud monthly donor. We encourage you to look into also becoming a monthly donor if you can. Struds?
Joel Edmondson, give the guy credit. He was a factor from the minute the game started, whether it was blocking shots, giving hits, being involved physically, gets into it with Leon Draisaitl, takes Leon off the ice. Like, his coach would love that. You take Leon Draisaitl off the ice and you're Joel Edmondson. No disrespect to Joel Edmondson, but that's a hell of a trade. That's just ridiculous. That's like Janmark taking off Austin Matthews. Like, we'll take that trade all night long if you're Sheldon Keefe. So well played by Joel Edmondson, and he looked very, very, very good tonight.
By the way, did we mention Mitch Marner and Tyler Bertuzzi weren't in the Leaf lineup? Yeah. By the way.
Fair. Yeah.
Like, man, oh man.
But you know what's funny, Shogger, and just quickly, the Leafs top players didn't kill the Oilers tonight. They played a good sound game, but you look around who scored. Yeah, so Willie Nylander had a skilled, lucky goal, whichever you want to look at. Austin's was an empty netter. Who is it? McCann and Pontus Holmberg, or Holmberg. Yeah, Holmberg. Yeah. Those guys, they were the ones scoring for the Leafs tonight. So I would call that support scoring, right? Getting it done for the Leafs on this night.
And how about this comment as we're getting ready for break here? Nick Biskupik. Sorry if I didn't say that right. Lots of passengers tonight. Brown, Henrique, Kane, McLeod were invisible. Easy to blame the Stars, but the role guys were MIA tonight. To your point, the Maple Leaf Struds, their role players, very much not MIA. What was up with Kane and Draisaitl on the bench there? We'll dig into that. Too much focus on Hyman and his 50. We'll discuss that as well coming up in takeaways and a look ahead to the Ottawa Senators. Tons of content still to come here on the show. Short break. The fastest growing male grooming company on the planet just got even better. Backscape 2.0 with a revolutionary friction fit handle makes the razor easy to pop in and out to shave not only your back, but anywhere on your body. And those hard-to-reach spots just got even easier with the new ergonomic design. Backscape's new titanium shave head makes for a smoother, more comfortable shave that respects your skin. Backscape 2.0. Stay smooth, gentlemen. Okay, heroes, are you trying to tough it out through a sports or life injury right now? Trying to prove your mettle by grinding through, gritting your teeth? Well, Redefined Health is here to say it's time to come on in. At Redefined Health, they'll high-five you for your toughness and then get to work on helping you fix the problem. Helping athletes and heroes find better balance, performance, and injury prevention. Visit redefinedhealth.com. Let's get to our takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Whether it's on land, on snow, on water, or on the road, begin your adventure with Martin Motorsports, your one-stop shop for all the toys for your next outdoor adventure. Quads, side-by-sides, boats, Sea-Doos, motorcycles, and more. Their showroom is packed full of fun. Drop in and check out all they have to offer, or you can check it out online as well at martinmotorsports.ca. We were asking McDavid and Hyman post-game, last game, about the idea of getting Hyman 50 in Toronto. Obviously, it's a storyline, has to be talked about. McDavid kind of said, well, yeah, it'd be cool, whatever. But I know they were much more focused on the 2 points, Struds. Do you think that trying to get Zach Hyman 50 goals got in the way, maybe on some early power plays, maybe in some thought process? Should they have just said, we're not worried about that and moved on?
Ah, man, that's a tough one. They're so professional. I don't think that these guys, were specifically targeting him, especially early in the game. He got late in the game. I felt like they were trying to look for him on the power play. It was 5-0, right? So what's the difference? But I think they're just so professional. They're looking for the best opportunity to score because they're trying to win. And if it happens to be Hyman, which it has been many times this year, then so much the better. But no, I don't think so. I don't think in their mind, you're like, we got to force feed it to this guy. The only guy that might be doing that is 97, maybe 29, but the rest of the team's just trying to make the right play.
McDavid has one shot on net in his last 2 games, man.
Yeah. But he has 6 assists. I mean,
okay. He's got one shot on net in 2 games, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but he's got 6 apples, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's a pretty good outcome. He gotta, he's setting up his buddies. I mean, if he had 0 points and 1 shot, we might be having a little different conversation, but 6 apples in 2 games.
Yeah. It's not it's not a criticism. It's more just I thought tonight there was a little bit more focus on Hyman. I think maybe it was in their heads a little bit more.
Do you feel like the last 2 games Connor's been looking off shots? Because I don't. I thought was brought it up earlier in the year. Remember, Brownie and I got into an argument. I said he needs to shoot more. And after watching the last 2 games, I don't feel that way. Do you?
Yeah, no, he has been. I feel like he has been. But again, really? To your point, he's got 6 assists. So I thought there was at least one on the power play. He had it in the slot, tried to slide it cross ice. At least 1, maybe 2 tonight that I can recall. I mean, look, like you said, he's got 6 assists in a couple of games here. We're not going to make too big a deal of it, but McDavid showed last season that he could score goals with the best of them in the league, and he's just kind of stopped trying to do that. And he's much more focused on distributing it, which is great. His teammates are getting tons of points and everything like that, but you want to see that killer instinct with that shot, I think, on a regular basis. And in a game like tonight, I think could have used it, would have been the right, Anyway, I don't know, man. Hyman's at 49. He ended up getting 1. They'll take on Ottawa tomorrow, and he'll try and get himself to 50. What did you make of Kane and Draisaitl on the bench?
Yeah, it was an interesting exchange. And, that's one you wish we could have seen live. They looked like 2 frustrated players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Leon is maybe talking about a back check and, maybe a play on the power play. But, Leon's not afraid to call people out.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so than anyone on the Oilers. And then Kane's the guy that won't back down. So, they're sitting close on the bench, and I don't know what started it. But I've seen those types of battles before where you're kind of arguing with a teammate and you're just pissed off. Like you're just pissed. You're getting pounded 5-0 in Toronto on Hockey Night in Canada. Like it is a really miserable experience to go through that. Then there's going to be 1,000 media in that room after asking you why you're so bad and talking about how come they're so good. Like it is a nightmare. So this seems to flare up every now and then with these two, but kind of knowing their personalities from a distance, it's not a major surprise to me. Is it to you?
No, not at all. I don't think it's a major surprise, and I don't think it's a big deal. I know there'll be lots of action on it online, and the TV cameras did a good job of grabbing it and catching it. But I think those kinds of conversations happen all the time between players. I think there's a broader discussion about the fact that Draisaitl and Kane don't seem to have been able to develop any sort of chemistry on the ice, right? That's where the natural fit should be for Evander Kane, is next to Leon Draisaitl, because the Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid-Hyman line has been so good. So there's a discussion to be had about 29 and 91 on a line together and a lack of chemistry and that not really clicking. And, as Rob Brown pointed out a while back, pretty animated discussion on the bench at least once before. But tonight it's just another animated discussion on the bench between frustrated hockey players in a game where they're getting shit kicked. And Kane nodded afterwards. Like it looked like the discourse was fine. It's not like they were trying to get at each other or anything. So I'm not really reading too much into this. It's just the greater narrative that these two players haven't clicked when it would be ideal, Struds, if they clicked on the ice. It would be ideal.
Like in my mind, I'd love to see those two together, right? You've got a guy, both guys can shoot. When Kane's physically and get in there and track pucks down, Leon's big body, it just feels like a real heavy offensive line in the offensive zone. And so I do think I'd love to see them somehow just develop what they need or find a path that makes them gel together, then put maybe some speed on the right side of them, whether it's McLeod or Fogle or whatever it'll be. But it's funny, as the game started, I didn't like that the big line was together.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next.
I would have liked to have seen them separated because, and you made this point, and someone sent it to me on Twitter. I thought it was a really good, well-made point, is that when it's not working when they're together, what's next? And that was the guy put it on Twitter. It was really well said, and it was your point. It's a really, really, really good point. I just don't like starting there. If you need to bring it there, I think that's good. But starting there, as you mentioned, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it's best used when it's break glass in case of, I don't want to say break glass in case of emergency. I just want to say break glass in case of emergency or opportunity, right? So out of a penalty kill, I think it's great. If it's been a few shifts where it's been a little bit stagnant, you want to throw them out there together. Every once in a while, it can create a little bit of magic. I think it's great, but I agree with you. Starting with them together is a little bit, and I get it. Like, load them up. The other team's missing some of its firepower, so put yours together and just let the guys on the big stage let her buck. Had they played some even strength, if that game been even strength for the first 10 minutes, maybe it would have gone a little bit different. Like that power play really, really stopped what I thought was going to be a good start for that team. So I would have been interested to see maybe a few shifts at even strength before the life got sucked out of them by a brutal power play. So tomorrow, I assume they'll separate them. Let's talk goaltending here. What did you think of Stu Skinner's night? And I would assume that they'll go to Pickard tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Pickard for sure tomorrow. I think he was going no matter what. So this isn't like they're changing their plan. I'd be really surprised if they throw Stu in there, considering it was a pretty tough 40 minutes. I think that tonight the goalie ate a lot of the weaker play of his team in front of him.
Chris Knobloch said that too, right? He said it wasn't fair to Skinner.
Yeah. So I think to evaluate Skinner's performance tonight, I know it was like every fourth shot went in or whatever it was. And I'm not saying that to be funny. That's just, where you're at. I don't think that's a fair evaluation game for Skinner at all.
All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. When we come back, Struds and I are going to take a lap, see what else is going on around the National Hockey League. You got a sense on Struddy's world, bud? Any hints? Any little something there? What do you got?
Well, which way do you want to go? I always have a serious one and I have a lighter one.
You got a
I'm
serious and a
open.
lighter one. Okay. You know what? Zuby, put up a quick poll.
Yep. Sure.
Put up a quick poll. Serious Struds World or lighter Struds World? I don't know. What do you think Oiler fan needs tonight? Like, are they in the mood to muck around? They need a little lightness, or you think they'll just get pissed off and annoyed?
They might. I can go either way, people. You let me know. Whatever you
Okay.
want.
Struddy is listening, folks. He wants to know what you think. You want him to make you smile? You want to talk some serious hockey? Lots need to lighten up, says Rye Guy. So we got an early vote there. Okay, Zuby's got the poll up right now. When we come back, we will take a lap. And a reminder, by the way, Struddy's appearance on the podcast is brought to you by Kin Prints, a local company, family owned, with decades of experience filling any and all of your promotional apparel and embroidery needs. Visit kinprint.ca.
Winter is upon us, so why not make the best of it? Marmot Basin Ski Resort is where it's at. Ski half price every day, no blackout periods. Pick up your escape card for $99 and make winter fun more affordable. Half the price, all the powder. Get yours at www.skimarmot.com.
Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca. Time to take a lap, brought to you by Backscape, the fastest growing male grooming company on the planet. Just got even better. It's the Backscape 2.0. If you want to order one online, use the promo code GYB10 and you'll get 10% off the advanced and deluxe 2.0 kits. They've got the new friction fit handle, lets you effortlessly snap the shaver in and out. You can touch up the rest of your body as well. Comfortable shave that respects your skin. Go to backscape.com. That's bakscape.com. Saturday night, Struddy, so lots of action around the National Hockey League. What do we want to take a look at, buddy? You're muted, pal.
Sorry about that.
There you
Tons of playoff implication games tonight here in the NHL. And the games have been going all day. So let's start with the first one. The Islanders beat the Jets 6-3. Now, obviously, the Islanders have been struggling. They're trying to get back on the winning side of the ledger. I think it was 5 or 6 in a row losses. But the big thing is they lose to the Jets lose, and now the Jets with that they tumble into third spot in their division. So they've been, at the top or near the top for most of the year. Now they're near the top, but the problem is now there's 2 teams that are above them. Now we're talking about 1 or 2 points. It's or 1 point and then a tie, I think. But I think second or third in that division is way different than first place in that division for the Jets, Avs, and of course the Dallas Stars.
Oh, for sure. I mean, so what do you got? Colorado and Dallas, you got sitting at 95 points as of right this minute that we are taping this. And Winnipeg with that loss. But I mean, they're not really in any real danger of being caught though. Hey, like caught in the other direction. It's more about climbing.
I mean, do you go from maybe hosting, I guess it'd be Nashville or Vegas to now all of a sudden, on the road against Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, or against the Avs. I mean, that's a big, and not to put down Vegas, but this year they haven't been the team that I believe the Stars and or Avs have been through the year.
What do you think about Nashville in the first round? Of all the teams, I mean, I don't know. Sneaky. It's crazy. Or is it for real? What do you think?
I don't know. I've watched them a bit, and I mean, they've got some nice players, and things are going better. And everyone's making and I voiced it when they canceled that trip to the Sphere in Vegas, and I was like, you can't do this. The players are gonna be pissed off. Well, I guess they were, because they've got an absolute heater since Andrew Mannette made that choice. So good on him. His instincts were right. Mine were completely wrong, which is happening regularly, it feels like lately. But I like it. I don't know. If I had to pick one of those 8 teams in the West, that'd be the team I'd want to play. How about you?
Nashville would be the team that you'd want to play?
It would be. What would
Yeah.
do you want to play defending Stanley Cup champions? Maybe the Kings after that? Like, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of what Nashville's done,
Well,
but
the
look at
Oilers
your
are
other options.
If you're the Edmonton Oilers, you're taking Nashville all day long because they beat the Preds for fun, basically, right?
Fair
Like
point.
they
Fair
dominate
point.
the
Yep.
Preds, and Leon Draisaitl just feasts on them. So yes, I would say if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you would be perfectly fine with that. But yeah, it's interesting, man. They're sneaky good here through the back half. Wasn't necessarily supposed to go this way, but it's funny the way things can change. You know, you got a U2 concert canceled on you. We all said, "Oh, I was offside. Shouldn't have done that. Should have done that." Well, they went lights out immediately after that happened.
Yeah, they have. And I know we all said it. Brownie, myself, and you all said that was a bad decision. And that's why he's the coach in Nashville. And, you know, he's got that team turned around. Then a couple additions we know they made. They made some subtractions, some additions. Pretty cagey move by the former coach, now GM of the Predators, Barry Trotz.
6-3, the final. Islanders and the Winnipeg Jets. What else you want to take a look at? What else mattered here?
Another game. So today it's more games than actual, you know, individual stories. The Flyers beat the Bruins 3-2. Couturier gets back in there, which is, you know, I think important for him, obviously, and maybe
Played a whopping 13 minutes.
Yeah, that was just that wasn't that much for your captain. But this was a big game for Flyers. The Flyers get, every point for them is crucial. And they're now at 81 points. They're clear of, Washington and other teams trying to catch them. With 11 games left, they're not home free. But, you know, it's always nice just to get 2 points because, you know, when you get 2 points, the other teams that are catching you have to just do that much more to try to catch and pass you. So the Flyers, I can't believe they're even in a playoff. I thought they're going to be just awful this year with what the goal was. But give Tortorella credit and Danny Briere and doing the right things. And even though they moved some players out, they still are in a playoff spot.
Just taking a look at this summary. I mean, they had 2 players play over 20 minutes, Sanheim and Cam York. That's it. Everybody else under 20 minutes. He was spreading it around pretty good. What did Couturier give him here? So Couturier gave him the 13 minutes. 1 shot on net, went 50% in the face-off circle, threw a hit, turned a puck over. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess he's just got to get back in there and get playing. And, 13 minutes isn't great. Not exactly a ton of ice time for you to earn it back, to send a message or anything like that. But I guess he had a sweater on, so that's a positive step.
Yeah, just getting back in. And it's humbling. Like, the first time you're scratched, it's very humbling. And I was scratched many times, but it is really humbling. And you're just pissed. It feels like the team leaves without you. That's what... you want to feel like you are so valuable to the team, but when they go on and they win without you, especially when you're the captain, it'd be really piss you off. So I think it's worth monitoring what Couturier does the next, I have 11 games left here for the Flyers. And maybe that was part of the thinking of Tortorella. Like, Tortorella's been a coach for a long time, and I don't agree with everything he does, but one thing he has is a ton of experience, and he knows people and understands people and motivating.
Well, we'll see what Couturier gives them from now until the end of the season. Who do you like in this group? This kind of like limp to the finish out east here with you got Philadelphia's in there, Tampa, Detroit. I mean, Washington is in the mix here a little bit still.
Well, I think that when
Tampa's got 7 wins in their last 10.
Who does?
Tampa does, yeah.
Yeah. I think when your teams are maybe somewhat struggling, there's quite a few teams. Like, if you look around, there's quite a few teams that's kind of like the Flyers are 5-3-2, Detroit 3-7, Washington 6-4, others 4-5-1. So no one's really running away with it. You did mention the Lightning, and that's a good example. But when everyone's kind of just hanging around 500, I usually give the nod to the teams currently in the playoff spots.
Right. All right. That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our good friends over at Backscape. Poll is still open. You want a serious Struddy's World? You want, or did you close it?
I just closed it because I thought maybe Struds would like to at least have the commercial break to gather his thoughts.
Oh, okay. Well, don't give him the result yet. We will give you the result of the poll. Struddy's World.
Okay.
Well, you can tell Struds when we're in break. I just mean,
you can surprise me. I'm equally prepared for either way. So when we come back, just say fun,
drop it on you.
Serious. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Be ready. All right. Struddy's World coming up.
The The Brindley family has made it their mission to create the best tasting flavored rums on the planet, and they've knocked it out of the park with their Shipwreck rums. Brewed off the small Caribbean island of St. Kitts, their spiced rum is aged 4 years in bourbon barrels and infused with natural vanilla. Their Shipwreck vanilla is blended with natural Madagascar vanilla, giving it incredible smoothness. One sip and you'll agree, it truly is a vacation in a bottle. Available at your local liquor retailer. Please enjoy responsibly.
Time to talk about your mortgage? It doesn't have to be a daunting conversation. With over 16 years in the industry, Maria Gallus, with Maximum Mortgages, knows how to make it easy. With access to dozens of different lenders, let Maria customize the perfect solution for you. Whether you're purchasing, refinancing, or renewing, or a first-time buyer, Maria's simplistic approach and expert advice will have you feeling confident you're in great hands, making informed decisions. Take the stress out of your mortgage journey. Contact Maria Gallus at mortgagesbymaria.ca. That's mortgagesbymaria.ca.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
God, I look good. Bill Hampton says, kudos to the most polished hockey pod out there, boys. Wow. That would be a Zuby compliment, because Zuby's the one that's in charge of our level of polish here on Got Your Back. When you leave it up to Struds and I, he forgets to turn his mic on. And I messed up something earlier, too.
Very kind, Bill. Very kind.
Yeah,
thank you.
Bill. Thank you, Bill. You keep buttering up Zuby like that, he'll go to all your comments and ask us anything. Time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Fantastic maintenance-free vinyl fencing. No sanding, no staining, no painting, no nothing. You put it in and it looks great. If you're in Calgary, they got fencing for you. If you're here in Edmonton, they got fencing for you. If you're a homeowner, contractor, or a builder, they're the most reliable source for vinyl fence. Opened in 2005 by my dad. And they're not going anywhere. Unmatched service, high quality, North American made products. Visit DLRvinylproducts.ca. Zuby, the result of the poll was
61% wanted a fun one.
Boom. Yes.
Oh, applause too.
I was hoping to go that way. I didn't have a serious one prepared. No, just kidding.
What would the serious one have been, Struds? Just so we know, what would you have done?
It would have been talking about what it would have been like to get on the plane, or to from the post game to the time you arrived in your hotel in Ottawa. What that time felt like.
Well, I'll ask you that and ask us anything. So I like that. Let's go. Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So I think I've shared before on the pod that I've learned or been learning how to play tennis. I never really played growing up. And so I've been taking classes, during the day and playing with people. And I got asked to play in a box league. So I joined this box league. And if you're not familiar with it, which I wasn't, there's 4 other people. You play everybody in the box league and you play games up to 12. And then the scores can be whatever, like 10-2, 6-6, whatever. And then you put your scores in, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. So I played most everyone. I had to play this one more player. And this guy was pretty funny. So I sent him an email. I'm like, hey, Mark, his name's Mark. And he's like, do you want to, can we play or whatever? He's like, yeah, we can play. So we arrange a time. Then he goes like, hey, Strudwick, you better bring it. And so I thought, okay, this guy's a really funny guy. So, and I knew he was a lawyer. I could see by his work email, he was a lawyer. So I wrote back, I said, Mark, you can't handle the truth. So that's how I left it. That's how I left it. If you're not familiar, it's a great line from a Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson movie. So now I go and play, and I'm like, I just chirped this guy, and he walks in. I'm like, okay, I think I should be able to compete. Like, I'm not good. I can't beat anyone. I just want to compete. I'm like, I can compete. And we have a kind of nice warm up, and it's cordial. He's telling me about his kids, and likewise, we're having a good time. And all I can think back in my head is like, Mark, you're not going to be able to handle the truth, which is my game. So we in tennis, you spin your racket, and whatever side the label's up, you get to choose. So I win it. And I say, Mark, you can have the first serve. Like, I'm really feeling good about myself. I go get in position for the serve. He smokes a serve. I don't even move. It's an ace. I didn't even move. And all I could think of was like, Mark, you can't handle the truth. Now I move over. I got absolutely annihilated. I think I lost 9-3. I think And Mark, you're probably listening. I think he let me win one or two. And by the end, I'm not kidding you, Shocker, he was standing about 4 feet below the baseline. My serve was so bad. He was giving me tips on how to like serve because it was just embarrassing. So, but the whole time, all I could say, why would I write that? Why did I write you can't handle the truth to a lawyer like I'm some big Roger Federer stud? Just a complete disaster of a tennis match. So anyways, Mark, I know you're listening. You're fun to play against. And it wasn't like I really enjoyed our game, but man, did I will never chirp like that again to
My
I think
goodness.
tennis pro, this guy.
So, and was there any relationship previous to this? Like,
Never met him. Never met him.
so just full on newbie. Just
Yeah. But I mean, he said, you better bring it, Strudwick. And like, I think people that have heard me on the radio, have gotten to know me over the years, they know I like chirping. I like the fun. So I think like his comment, like, you better bring it, Strudwick, that was really fair. But then I went one too far. And I've been known to go a step too far with, you can't handle the truth, Mark. And what a loser I was to say that. Like,
you can't handle the truth.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, what were you meaning? Kind of like, my game is the truth and you're not going to be able to handle it? Like, my game is...
Yes. In my mind, that was somewhat what I was trying to deliver, a little bit of intimidation. And he didn't even respond, which I get it. He didn't need to until he hit that first serve. That was his response when it went by me, and it just blew me up. And humbling situation, Shogger.
You threw some encouragement at me today. I'm trying to find it. I can't remember where it was. Like in our group chat, like you'll do that. You'll sort of be like, you better bring it tonight, or you better, like you kind of throw the gauntlet down to the group, but it's done in a sort of loving, encouraging way. Like, we're going to have a good show tonight and I'm going to help you get there. And right.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's what he was doing to you. And you responded.
Yeah.
Like you came over the top or got weird about it almost.
Yeah, no, if there is no wrong way for you to interpret what I said. Like, I agree. I did it wrong. I misinterpreted everything that happened through our email exchange, it all came clear though when the first serve went flying by me at about 100 miles an hour. It was very clear.
I love you didn't even move. You're just
I didn't even move. How am I supposed to move? I thought it was out of a machine. Like, who is that over there? Pete Sampras, throwing darts at me. So anyways, I was very humble, and I am very humble when it comes to tennis because I'm not that good.
I love the fact you're trying to pick it up this late in life, though, man. That's good.
Yeah, well, and I played a lady yesterday in a little game, and I won 5-3, but it wasn't. Honestly, we ran out of time. That's why I won. She was on a comeback trail.
Oh, surprised Struddy's world wasn't about that.
Well, it's not funny. Winning with time running out isn't as good as getting spanked by Mark the lawyer, who can handle the truth.
Mark can handle the truth and then some. You are having a tough time handling Mark's serve. Never mind your truth. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Any questions? Anything you want to ask us? Can be anything. Can be hockey, movies, tennis, golf, whatever. It's why we call it Ask Us Anything, and it's coming up after a very short break. For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has been delivering a high-quality golf experience to Edmonton and area. This beautiful private club, located on Highway 21 just south of Sherwood Park, occupies 160 acres and presents a challenging yet adventurous 18-hole design. A beautiful clubhouse, fully stocked pro shop, and warm, friendly staff truly make it feel like you belong to something unique and special. Visit www.belvederegcc.com. She is the shark of the park, Renee Buclan of Maxwell Devonshire Realty. You'll see why her commitment to providing her clients with professional services, skilled negotiations, experience, and great knowledge of Sherwood Park, Edmonton, and surrounding areas is the reason why you should give Renee a call. And she presents tonight, Ask Us Anything, one of our proud sponsors. Give her a call, 780-994-0280. Struds, were any good at table tennis in the locker room? That question came in over the stream.
No.
Apparently you're garbage on the tennis court, but how were you at table tennis?
No. One year I was with the Oilers, and we had a racket, like a bracket. I was at the bottom. I was terrible, and I just stopped playing. I'm like, I'm out. I don't even enjoy it. There's too much other stuff to do. I find I'm busy in there. I don't know why. There's lots to do. I didn't have time to play the old table tennis.
Like doing calisthenics and working on your snapshot?
Yeah, like there's just things to do. Like when I was there, I wanted to get my work and go home. That's kind of how I was, right? I get there before practice, I'd work out. I afterwards I'd stretch, hang out, have lunch, and then go home. I wasn't there like I wasn't one of the guys that hung around the room for a
Yeah.
long time. Not that I enjoy the guys, but we spent so much time together. I was like, okay, we can, on a practice I can get home and get some other stuff done.
Zuby, you're allowed to come into the show, bud. I see you haven't turned the fist into you yet. You're hiding in the background yet,
I'm
bud.
here. I'm here. Struds, did you ever do lunges on the airplane up and down the aisle like Russell Wilson?
No, I don't think so. Did he? Why was he doing that?
It was just when he was in that first season with the Broncos, when it was just like a downward spiral. Everything he ever talked about, people were just making fun of. That was one of the things. They had to play a game in Europe, and he talked about how he was doing lunges down the aisle in the airplane, and it was just like shake your head stuff. It's like, just stop talking, just go out and play the game. So a lot of comments came in here sort of towards the end of the show about Nuge. Quaddy said everyone is so concerned about Kane and his lack of goal scoring. Where's Nuge's goal scoring gone? You guys have any thoughts about Nuge's production as of late?
Yeah, so he's been bounced around line to line, right? He's all over the place. And I do think that, like, did he have one shot? I think I looked at it, or maybe no shots.
I can
can't
grab it here real quick
I-
for you.
yeah, so-
One shot, 2 attempts, 1 missed shot, 56% in the face-off circle, 23.04 and -1.
Yeah. So, yes, I feel like last year Nuge scored obviously more goals. He was getting more looks on the power play as well. For whatever reason, those looks aren't coming to him as much. Especially tonight, I thought they were really pressuring the flank. I thought the Leafs were doing a good job of really pressuring the side to not the guys kind of set up over there. And how many times we see it, Nuge just throw a backhander up to Bouchard, up to the blue line? That was the question. But I think that he's been bouncing around wing, left wing, center. Like he's all over. I think that might be time to try to get a little bit of steadiness for everyone, kind of in that top six, Shaggy.
Yeah, I agree. Right. Get him back on that line with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Figure something out with Leon Draisaitl. I don't know. He hasn't been good enough from a goal scoring standpoint for sure. I mean, he still touches all aspects of the games. So pick a game that the Oilers have won. Chances are he was part of a penalty kill that was decent. Chances are he was part of a power play and had a touch somewhere that mattered. So, he touches a lot of different areas of the game, but it's completely fair to point out the lack of goal scoring in the last 30 plus games as an area of concern. So I think that is a good and fair point.
I forgot to mention this before. I had set an internal over-under on how many minutes it was going to take for someone in the chat to say that the Oilers should have got Edmondson. I set it at 10. I got it at 19 minutes past. So if anyone was gambling on it was the over. I know we already talked about him, but Bad Andy said the Oil needed to trade for that D-man who wears 20 for the Leafs. Penner's Pancake, speaking of D-men, he says he'd like to see Stetcher back in tomorrow. So what are the odds of that happening? Would you like to see it? And if so, who would he replace?
Interesting.
I'm not sure if you're relating it to Cece or Vinny. I'll go with Vinny. I thought he looked like I said earlier, a guy that was dealing with or has an injury or something. He was not physical and mean. They really needed him tonight to step up, and he was unable. He's always willing. It's not willing. I feel like he was maybe unable tonight, Schauger. So if there is an issue still at that hand, he can't be the effective guy that he wants to be or needs to be if that's the case.
See, this Desharnais injury came at an interesting time where Stetcher was new on the team, and it was probably time to get Stetcher some minutes, give him a look, right? Chris Knobloch had talked about the idea of going with 7 defensemen potentially to try and get Stetcher into some games. Vinny Desharnais gets hurt, and it gives him an opportunity to take a look at Stetcher, and he actually looked pretty good. I was left wanting to see more, and I think that he's opening the door to a conversation about, with everybody healthy, are there going to be some nights where they have to give him the nod over somebody else? And I can't help but wonder about that. We know that Knobloch doesn't like the 7 defenseman formation, but just based on play, I would say get Stetcher in. Now, is there a conversation at some point about Cece potentially being the guy that has to come out at a certain point. Would they healthy scratch CC to give Stetcher a look? That would be somewhat unprecedented. Would they healthy scratch Desharnais? Like healthy scratch him to get him a look? That too, right? They've been that 6. So it's an interesting thing because with Desharnais getting healthier now in an ideal world, he would get more than today's game to kind of find his game and get going again, Struds. But, I don't know. Maybe they go 7 defensemen. Maybe they go 7 defensemen and 11 forwards because it's not like the fourth line, contributed a ton, right? Maybe that's the time to do that.
I think they have too many forwards to go 7D. I really do. They need to get in the lineup and play, because then that means Connor Leon maybe get more ice time. So I'm not sure that's the time right now.
Yeah, you want to roll 4 lines in a back-to-back, hey?
Yeah, well, I think that's what they're trying to do too, right? They're trying to build that for the playoffs. So I think you got to have that. But I just go back to my comments about Vinny. He didn't look physical at all tonight, and I think he had like 5 block shots, maybe 1 hit. And they needed him to mash. And if your hand isn't feeling good, like I have no idea what the injuries. There was a talk about the finger. Finger doesn't heal in 2 games. It just doesn't work that way, right? So it kind of neuters him a little bit if he's unable to be the guy that he wants to be. So maybe that's the point where you just say, we're going to give you a little bit longer break and give Troy a chance to play a bit more here.
VA says our grit was absolutely absent today. Needed a pushback. Kane needed to fight Reeves. So, VA, I'm going to totally disagree with you there. Like, there's no need for Evander Kane to fight Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves was a non-entity in this game for the most part.
What did he do?
Like, he didn't do anything. So, for Evander Kane, who's supposed to be a top 6 forward on the Oilers, to go fight the other team's tough guy, maybe he beats him, maybe it's a draw, maybe he loses, whatever. That doesn't really do anything. If Evander Kane was going to take action today, Struds, it was about, finishing checks hard on some of the Leafs' best players, maybe getting into Edmondson's face. Maybe there's a challenge there at some point. Some jawing on the bench. And maybe there was, and the cameras didn't catch it. But it's not about fighting Ryan Reeves, Struds.
Not at all. You again, with all due respect, you want him on the ice. You don't want to take that guy off the ice. If they're going to play him whatever, 6-7 minutes, that's a great 6-7 minutes for your team. So it's the wrong idea. If you're going to fight anyone, it's Edmondson, it's McCabe. That's who you go after. You don't go after that guy whose job is to fight. That's his job. That's what he does.
Sort of in the same realm, Machine Gun Yanmark said, I'm noticing a distinct plan against the Oilers by good teams to target the Stars physically. The team needs to counter this. He went on to say, why not make life miserable for Matthews and McKinnon first? And he singled out Darnell Nurse and said, Nurse always waits to react. What do you think about that strategy? And do you feel like Nurse's physicality specifically is more reactive than proactive?
Yeah, Darnell Nurse doesn't play that way anymore, Struds. Darnell Nurse does not initiate nastiness against the other team's better players anymore. Very seldom.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you that brought that to the pod or Brownie, but I would agree with you. And he's got to have that edge, especially in the playoffs. He's got to have that edge. CC, Vinny Desharnais. I'm missing Ekholm. He'll bring it. Bouchard isn't really a saint. Kulak can play that. We saw it from Kulak in the prior playoffs. So there's guys that can do it, or that not can, who have done it and should continue to do it. Then up front, they have plenty of guys that can deliver that. Plenty of guys that can do that.
Darnell Nurse used to, when his game wasn't really where he wanted it to be, or when the team's game wasn't where it wanted to be, he would find a way to go make an impact, right? Whether it was a big hit, he'd find a fight now and then. Again, I don't advocate that guys need to make the choice to go out there and fight to try and change momentum in a game. But Darnell Nurse used to find ways through physicality to change momentum in games, to change his own personal momentum. And I find that that's lacking or gone from his game for the most part, Struds.
Yeah, and I think now's the time to start kind of bringing that back, right?
Yep.
You're I don't want to call it a month away from the playoffs or whatever. Now is probably a good time to start bringing that element to your game, so that when it's playoff time, you have it pre-built in and you don't have to turn it on game 83.
Shane Matheson said Pickard was great in the first and second opening the gate. Nice and crisp and shut it down in the third. That's all I got tonight. I know you guys already talked about that you think Pickard will get the start tomorrow. What about there were some people talking earlier about what they do in the next 3. So how do you see the goaltending the starts playing out for the next 3, and with Skinner coming out early, that you still don't think that has any effect on tomorrow.
Yeah, I would go Pickard tomorrow. Skinner, Pickard. So
Yeah.
you got Winnipeg, LA, likely first round matchup on Thursday against LA. So I'm going with Skinner on that one too. So I'm giving Skinner both big games this week, but I'm giving Pickard tomorrow and next Saturday. Struds?
Saturday is Nashville, right? Next Saturday?
Ducks.
Ducks, sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a great plan. And I think that's probably what is going to happen, although we've been surprised before. But again, you, Skinner played, he prepared all game, or all day he's going to play. Then he played 2 periods. So was there really a day off, like playing him out 1 period early? It really doesn't feel like that for him. So tomorrow will be a complete day off. As the Oilers, there might be a light skate in the morning for some of the extras. But like the other guys won't even go to the rink. So maybe Stu's practices, maybe the goalie coach has him out there.
Struddy,
Would you have thought about, sorry, Zoo, I just want to throw this at you, Struds, and I know you don't want to single out Bouchard here, but we talked about Leon Draisaitl and maybe if there was the need for him to miss a shift or two or be benched back when he made that really bad mistake in that game. Was it the bad penalty that he took? I can't remember exactly what it was. And Knobloch said, I hadn't decided yet because the Oilers got a power play, right?
Yeah.
This is like, do you think that there was something there with Bouchard? Another soft play out of the corner against, in a big moment against a skilled guy. Like, do you think that Knobloch, with these recurring things, needs to dig in a little bit here? Could that have been an opportunity to have dug in a little bit there?
So the last one being McKinnon in overtime?
McKinnon in overtime, soft play out of the corner. Soft play out of the corner here on Austin Matthews. Like, this is a recurring thing, and they need to nip it in the bud, and this coach needs to show the player he's serious about nipping this in the bud big time. Shift or two.
Yeah, I don't know. That feels pretty dramatic for that type of play.
A shift or two?
Yeah, just the benching. He is
a couple shifts. Hey man, I know, we've seen that recently. Can't do that anymore. You got to cut that out.
But Connor's been in the wrong place a couple times too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so do you send that message to your captain? Like, I think that's
different for him. It's different for him.
I know, but still, he's out. Leon also didn't help. Bouchard on that last minute back check, and I'm not putting it 50-50 for the blame, but they're out there against good players as well, and those other good players are going to make good plays. And Bouchard's made some.
Austin Matthews had nothing to do with that play. He didn't make a good play there. He had nothing to do with the mistake there. Bouchard didn't just get outfoxed by a cagey veteran.
Right. But I'm saying in general, but so to answer your question, no, I would not sit him for that play specifically. I think that's an ongoing conversation between Paul Coffey and Bouchard.
Zubit.
Neon Rider coming in saying, was tonight the kick in the teeth that Strud said they needed last pod? Is this the kick in the teeth?
Oh, that's very good insight. That's true. Cause how did I put it? Like, you can't lose weight if you still eat chips at night. You don't really you don't learn the lesson. So they did win the last 2 games on games that could have been arguably losses, for both those games. So, yeah, I think it's a wake up call. Not a wake up call. I don't like that word because it suggests they've been ready to sleep. But I think there is a way.
They haven't been playing great. Like, they haven't had fantastic games here. They've been winning despite. Probably need to show up on time and impose their will on another team at some point here. Yeah, right. And the record is good over the last couple of weeks. Like, it's good. Yeah. But we're trying to envision. Yeah, we're trying to envision what the team is supposed to play like in playoffs. And they're kind of playing with fire here a little bit. One more, Zuby.
Okay, a couple who I wanted to get to a couple quick chirps on Struddy's World. Quaddy said Struddy's reflexes are more appropriate for knitting than tennis. I thought that was pretty funny. And Shane Matheson said maybe that guy, the tennis guy, could have given you some swimming lessons as well. And here's the final question. I know with it we don't have to go too deep on this, but Chris R said when the roster expands, I presume he's saying for playoffs, who gets the call up from the farm? And I'll add on to this: does the Condors being looking like a pretty good team in the AHL, and them wanting to go on a playoff run, how does that affect who might get called up to fill out the playoff roster?
Well, I don't know. You want your top guy? You want Holloway and Broberg playing playoff games or in the press box, or when it all bets off in the playoff Struds, you need your best hands on deck, or what do you think?
I think you leave them down there unless you need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you
I think
need to have them, unless there's a clear injury or something, hey?
I think it's easy. I think it's because there's usually enough time between games you can get them up there, right? We don't, but it's not often you have back-to-back games, so you can get players up if required. But I want my players, my young players, playing in those playoff games, and when they're done, then you bring them up. You don't bring them up to sit, especially if they're going to be the 8th, 9th defenseman or whatever forward.
Struds Five Head says, bottom line, if the team from top to bottom doesn't tighten up defensively, they won't last long in the playoffs. Can't score your way out of trouble. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Rini Bouclan. Wrapping up the podcast, let's get to our gem of the day. Struddy's World was pretty good. I don't think I'll pick that, Struds, if you've got something in mind. I'm not going to call your number, but...
No, well, I'm going to call one of the chirps from one of the people that said that maybe that guy could have given Struddy swimming lessons. And the knitting one was good, too. I have to admit, it's rare that I laugh out loud like that, but that was really well done.
That goes back to another Struddy's World where you talked about swimming, and for anyone that missed it, and you came out of the pool and the lifeguard said, what to you?
She said, we offer swimming lessons, adult swimming lessons.
So after she watched you swim,
yeah.
she initiated the conversation. It's not like you were chatting with her and she was like, by the way, she was like, she felt a duty. A duty as a protector of people who might be in danger to suggest, sir, you might need lessons.
Yeah, and let's be clear, I'm not mad about it at all. Like, I think it's really funny, and I like, you kind of feel good about yourself. I swam for an hour, and then someone tells you need to have a swimming lesson. You're like, oh, okay. And it came from a good place. One of the lifeguards came over and said, like, I just want to make sure it's clear you weren't upset. I'm like, I'm not upset. It's the last thing. I'm not upset about it all.
You, ma'am, are funny, and you will be the gem of the day. Though you don't even know what that is.
That's Shane Matheson. I get for two gems of the. We got to get this guy a hat. He's down in Louisiana, so maybe
gem times 2. I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Yes, you are, Shane Math. The Got Your Back Hall of Fame's got a low bar. Joaquin Gage is already in it. That's all you need to know.
It's in Struddy's bathroom, I think. Though that's where they keep the plaques for the GYB Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So good.
Big thanks to everybody that joined us on the live stream tonight. Thanks to those of you that are downloading the podcast or watching on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Tell some friends. Get them on board too. We want to keep growing it. But tons of fun, and a big thanks to Sherwood Buick GMC as well. Zuby, Struds, job, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, great. I love these early games. On a Saturday night, I can go back and I don't know what I'm going to do now, but I know.
Yeah, you're not doing it. You got no big plans on a Saturday.
I know. What am I talking about? What a loser.
Little shipwreck rum on ice. Shipwreck rum on ice, buddy. That's what I'm about to go do.
Mango. So good, guys.
Enjoy responsibly. Have a good night, guys. See ya. Zuby, good job, pal.
So long. Thanks, guys.
See ya.